Hey guys, this is Sin Quirin of the band SIGLOS, formerly of Ministry, formerly of, let's see, Society One, American Head Charge, Lords of Acid. I think that's it.
Yeah, quite a resume.
And also Headed Snake. Yeah, it's been quite a resume.
Oh yeah, that's right. Three-headed snake. I remember that. I went to your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. Sin and I kind of go back now. I don't even want to. I'm not saying how long.
We go way back.
Too many years.
But yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the new project. I'm excited. I was watching the video, preparing for the interview and everything. I have to say it was, I guess, sort of darker and eviler than I expected. I mean, which is, I know you played in Ministry and stuff in Society One that seems like pretty dark, but it's actually even darker than that. So I was like, wow, I really liked it.
Yeah, it's it's really funny. That whole and I mean I hate using or pigeonholing things or labels, but the whole black metal, death metal, doom metal thing, I sort of became a fan of that a little later on in my career. Even though we played with all those bands or those types of bands, like Behemoth or Satyricon or stuff like that, I never really gave it a chance, to be honest. And about 3 to 5 years ago, out in Europe, we'd done some shows with Behemoth, and for the first time, I actually watched them from the side of the stage down into the photo pit, and I was just blown away. I was blown away by just the sheer power and of not only the image, but just of the sound, just how heavy it sounded to me. And it sort of got the ball rolling for that. Now fast forward to a couple years ago during the shutdown, I just kind of went into hyper writing mode, and some of the songs that I had written didn't have any vocals, so I was like, man, I'm really hearing kind of like a black metal kind of vocal for it. So I told my engineer, producer, Alex, I said, hey man, this is kind of what I'm song. And he suggested this guy, Pedro Sanchez. And that's kind of how that came to be and how this project sort of started.
Oh, that's really cool. Hang on. I'm going to pause this for 1 second. Okay, there we go. Anyway, yeah, okay. So that was one of my questions I was going to ask you, is how you met Pedro. Yeah.
So it was through Alex Crescione over at Stygian Sound, which is where I've been recording for the past year and a half or so. I have probably a dozen, maybe 15 brand new songs, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them. A couple of false starts with a couple of other guys, but it didn't work out with them, so I was just kind of left with all these songs. And I don't know, I was gonna do sort of, I guess, like a solo album per se, just have different vocalists, but then I met Pedro, and we really hit it off, and the vibe was there, that it just made me want to create this new project, which I still might do some type of solo thing with different singers for other songs that I have, but I definitely wanted to make this an actual project as just like one song. So we're actually in the studio, and we have more material coming, more videos coming and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Is the whole album finished, or you're currently in the process of making it?
Yeah, we're still writing. I mean, the music is pretty much done for the rest of the tracks. It's just recording Pedro in there, and we're up to about 4 songs right now. And the idea is to release an EP and then eventually full length.
Nice. And then do you plan to tour with it? I know it's just listed as you two guys right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. That is definitely something that we would like to do, is to take this to a live setting. I think that just the sheer heaviness of it. Wait till you hear this the other material as well. It's equally as heavy and as dark. The song Por los Siglos, the signal that we have now, is a very slow, dark song. I mean, we have fast, dark songs as well, and I mean, we sort of cover the whole, you know, spectrum. But it definitely sounds like us, and it's mixing my, you know, the music that that I write along with Pedro's vocals, and I think it's a cool combination. I'm bringing a little bit of the sort of, you know, I guess for lack of a better term, industrial-ish kind of vibe to it as well, along with Pedro's vocals, and I think it's a cool combination.
Yeah, I think the best way I could describe the one song I heard was what I've heard dubbed as black and roll, where it's like black metal
There you
mixed
go.
with, yeah, there's a
Yeah,
band called Chrome Division that is, I feel like, I don't know if they started it, but that's the first one I heard of that was,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like that term.
And
I'm gonna. What's the name of that band? I'm gonna check them out.
Chrome Division, their first album is good. They got a different singer and kind of wandered off, but it was the guys from
Gotcha.
Dimmu Borgir and some other bands like
Ah,
Supergroup. Yeah,
there you
they,
go.
they
Right on.
made this. Yeah, and it had that more like combining of black metal and
Yeah,
like bluesy sort of
sure.
industrial. Yeah,
Totally. Yeah, yeah. No, I dig it. I like it. And I, you know, I'm really like, I don't know. I got this sort of renewed excitement, just overall for music. I I was getting a little, I don't want to say bored, maybe stagnant, even with myself, with my own writing. And you know, I just thought it was time for a change. And you know, I had been with ministry for 15 years, and towards the end there, I was just like not really. It just like I felt like the hamster in the wheel. You know what I mean? And I was just like kind of just, you just start to just kind of go through the motions, and it didn't feel good to me anymore. Um, and nothing, you know, against the band or anything like that. I just felt like I was just kind of spinning my own, you know, my own wheels, and I needed a change. And I don't know, I haven't felt this excited in a long time for new music, so it's a good thing.
yeah. I was gonna ask you. I'm assuming in this project you have a lot more freedom, right? Because I mean, ministry was such an
Yeah,
established thing that you
absolutely.
came into, and then this is your thing, basically, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, and when I came into ministry, I mean, I went into it thinking, okay, I have to write, and it has to sound like ministry. And at the end of the day, you know, Al is the final say in that band. It's his band. I mean, everyone else just, you know, you have to. He's the final word. So with this project, definitely, I mean, I can do whatever I want. The songs are going to be arranged, you know, the way I want them, and it's just nice. It's nice to have that freedom, and right now, I mean, the partnership is really good with Pedro and I. We really click in the studio. We have the same vision for the songs, so it's you know, as far as writing, it's going very well.
Yeah, and then you said the that guy Alex. I was gonna ask you about him. Is he like a producer? Or I know he worked on the new
Yeah.
filter.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He worked with Richard. He's a great engineer. He's over at Stygian Sound out in Van Nuys. He's talented, and he's been a blessing for me. You know, to have a guy like that in the studio that just connects with my vision, and he's been great. He's been the guy that I do my stuff with, like I said, for the past year and a half or so, almost 2 years.
How did you meet him?
How did I meet Al? You know, Alex, I think he and I had talked about doing me or working together, or having me record there years ago, maybe about 2017 or 18 or something like that. And he was actually in Society One for a little while.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
okay.
like way later, before after me. I mean, I think he was with them like, I don't know, and I could be wrong on this, maybe about 2015 or 16 or something like that. So I knew him through that band as well, through Society One and through Matt. And then you know, he and I would start to just kind of talk studio stuff, and eventually in 2020, I guess, is when I actually went over there and started doing. The first thing I did with him actually was a single for my other project, Three Headed Snake. He did the single called Tyrants, which was released on Cleopatra Records like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I must have met him. I went to a Society One show around that time. I bet I met him. I was like, he
I'm
sounds
sure you
super
have.
familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
our little
And he's
world.
his name is getting around, and thank God that a lot of bands are starting to recognize his work. And he's going to have a great future. I mean, he's going to have he's going to do some great things because he's really good at what he does.
That's cool. Right here in Van Nuys. I live in Van Nuys, so I'm like, oh, you guys are down the
Oh, right
street.
on. Yeah, totally.
So I was gonna ask you, so you said you're kind of newer to getting into like more extreme metal. So what would you say were some of like the influences for this? You said Behemoth for sure.
Yeah. We had done, like I said, a lot of it was me being exposed to that stuff in Europe, doing a lot of the big European festivals,
Oh yeah.
when I was out there with Ministry, doing like Hellfest and what's the one over in the Czech, well, also Bloodstock. Just all those festivals is where you get to see these bands. And for me, the big one was Behemoth, but also Satyricon. We'd done with them, and I really liked them a lot. And then, I mean, just throughout the years, we'd done like Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that. But the two bands that stick out for me, and Dimmu as well, are like Satyricon, were the ones that kind of like, wow, that really piqued my interest. I really want to go down that road and see what I can do, in that style.
Yeah, I was curious. I know you're here, you live in LA. Have you heard of any of the local kind of, there's a local black metal scene here that's been kind of going on for a while. Satanian Vernalis, Grave Spawn, there's a bunch of them. Those are the two I can think of because I know the guys.
No,
But
I haven't seen any of the I'd love to. I'd love to check out what's going on here locally. But I haven't. I mean, I hardly ever go out, and this past few years has been, as you know, a nightmare. As that goes, but yeah, I definitely love to check out some of the local talent as well.
yeah, because it's kind of an interesting scene. I was gonna also say, like, not just in the LA scene, but in general, I feel like a lot of people are kind of mushing genres now, and it's okay. It used
Yeah,
to be more like in the 90s, it was very separate. You were doing
sure.
this or you were doing that. But now it's like, oh, it's okay to be a little
Yeah,
bit of this and a little bit of that. And I think that's kind of cool. I know some of those like LA black metal bands are kind of like that too, because we're not from Norway, right? Like
right.
we got to have your
Exactly.
own style to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree, and I think that you know, bringing in your different influences. I mean, it's in the end result. I mean, it can only be a positive thing. You don't want to keep repeating the same thing, because then things get stale and stagnant. I mean, things always have to kind of evolve and grow. And yeah, I'm all about stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah. I'll forward you some of those one of these days. Hate War
Yeah, please
Productions are
do.
the good ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's this little
please
bar
do.
called The Bricks. I don't know if you've ever, it's a newer one. It's the first one of the
Yeah.
first place I ever went to when I went back out, and they have all these they have like a goth club and a metal club and then like the ranchero kind of music all in one.
Oh, nice. Shit. You know what? I'm down for all three.
Yeah, I was like, this is cool. I could go like get a whole different vibe just walking into a different room. Yeah, anyway, I'll send you some of
Awesome.
that stuff.
Where is it? It's in the valley?
Downtown, like in some weird
Oh,
industrial
right
area.
on,
Like
of course.
all those
Yeah, yeah.
underground shows are always, yeah,
Sure.
these
Yeah,
sketchy
right on.
areas.
Yeah, of course. Awesome.
uh, but anyways, so what was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, the video. I remember I saw you were kind of like casting for the video not that long ago, so that must have come together pretty quickly, yeah?
Yeah, it was well, because it's interesting. It's interesting because the band, right now is just paid. And basically, like, I do all the music in the studio. I write all the music and record everything in the studio, and then Pedro does all the vocals and the lyrics. So when it was time to do the video, I mean, I had thought about, well, maybe we can just do it with Pedro and I, but I sort of had a vision for the video, and in this vision I saw it as there being a band. So and not like a full-on performance video, but just I saw other members in there. So that's when I just kind of started to reach out, and luckily, like, all the guys that ended up in the video are actual guys that I know, and that are friends of mine. The only for the first time was the drummer Chris, but Adrian, the other guitar player, I've known Adrian for years. And then Eric Bryan, also I've known him. He plays in another band, Anger is Art, which is a great band here in LA. And I've known him for years. So it turned out very well and came together pretty smoothly.
Nice. Oh, you got muted for some reason. Oh, I don't know. I wonder if I can. There you go. Yeah. I teach college on Zoom now. That's my day job these days. And yeah, I'm like a Zoom expert now, whether I liked it or not, because of the pandemic.
Yeah. Right on. I'm getting a little more hip to this. Yeah, I'm like old school. Like like I was saying earlier, I suck at all this technology stuff. So I'm glad that this is my first phone Zoom thing here. So
nice. Yeah, no, it didn't even occur to me to do interviews on Zoom. A publicist was like, "Do you want to do a Zoom interview?" I was like, "Oh my God, that's such a good idea."
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
I've been teaching for 2 years on Zoom. How did I not think of that? Yeah. Anyway, so I was gonna ask you about the lyrics. The lyrics are in Spanish, right? And so I had two questions about the lyrics. Like, first of all, like, what exactly is it about? Because sadly, I don't speak that much Spanish. I really should. I've lived in LA like 20 years. But and then my second question is, all the lyrics in Spanish, and was that kind of important to the project?
Yes. When we started the project, I didn't start out saying I want to do a Spanish, project. It just kind of happened when I hooked up with Pedro and we started discussing, writing this song. He was actually the one that brought up, do you want this in English or in Spanish? And because he's in a band called Trastorno, which is also a Spanish, like, black metal band.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, and so, at that point, like a switch just went off in me, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it in Spanish. I'm fluent in Spanish. It's English is my second language. Same thing with Pedro. So I thought, wow, just another sort of cool, unique twist in my opinion. So we decided to do it in Spanish. He did all the lyrics, and the song title "Por los siglos" is like, it's a Spanish phrase saying, which means like for centuries or forever, is what it translates to.
Wait, sorry, you cut out. Can you say that again? I Googled it and it said "for the ages," but what did you say?
Yes, so it's like "por los siglos" is a Spanish saying, and it basically translates to "for the ages," for the centuries, or forever and ever. That's kind of what it translates to. And that's basically what the lyrics are about, just of our ancestors and this whole spiritual thing with the lyrics. Now, what was funny is have a name for the band at this point. And so while I was reading the lyrics and the chorus, "Por los siglos," the word siglos just kind of stuck me. And I said, wow, I like that word. I've known that word and I've heard it since I was a little kid. I was like, we should call the band SIGLOS, and Pedro liked it, and that's kind of how it happened. So the title of the song is how we came up with the name for the band. And I like the meaning, SIGLOS, which is, ages, centuries. I just kind of like the meaning behind it, but that's kind of how that whole thing came to be. And all the songs are going to be in Spanish, and we're going to include lyrics with every, Camp. It's got all the lyrics. On the YouTube video, it's got all the lyrics, just so people can sort of read along. But that's the story behind it.
Yeah, I think that again is something that people are embracing more and more. Like, there's a lot of bands from Japan and Korea, and this band, The Who, from Mongolia, and then of course Rammstein, where you don't have to sing in English all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's so, to me, just music is so unique that, I mean, I've heard songs in other languages that I don't speak that I still listen to, and that I can still kind of like, remember something from, and there's a hook, and there's just certain things you kind of pick up on. So, I was like, yeah, I don't see a problem with this being in Spanish. I don't see it like hindering us in any way.
Yeah, it definitely spoke to me. That's one of the reasons I brought up the local LA black metal because there's a lot of Hispanic influence and a lot of the
Yeah,
members. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
big demographic, let's say, of that crowd. Yeah, so it really
sure,
kind of has that LA vibe to it, I think, for that reason, which I
totally.
think is cool. It's like a
Yeah,
mix of American and
for sure.
Latin. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. Well, that influence is definitely there, and you'll hear it in some of the other songs that we've got happening.
Nice. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, one of the words I did know in the lyrics was Satan. I was like, oh, I know that one. Um,
Yes.
I like that you didn't shy away from that. Now, some bands are afraid of getting pigeonholed as like a satanic band. Some really embrace it. Like, where do you stand on all of that?
We don't, it really, with Pedro and his vocals and his lyrics, I really kind of like to leave open for him. We might write a song, that's about Satan. We might write a song that's not about Satan, but uses the word Satan in it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be, I don't want to like tell him, hey man, I don't want you to write this or I don't want you to write that. It's pretty open to him, because I've been in those situations before where I've been limited on how I write and what I can write and stuff like that. And we definitely don't want to do that. I mean, the one thing I can say, and that we both agree on, is that we're sort of going to stay away from any political thing, just because to be that type of band pigeonholed into. I've been there, obviously, for many years, with some of my other bands and stuff like that. And nothing wrong, if that's your thing, that's great. But that's just not what we want. Other than that, everything's pretty much open.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, I know with all the like political craziness the last couple of years, it's nice to sort of take a break. Everything is so this
Yeah,
side or that side, and it's like I just want to
yeah.
exist.
I think so too. I think so too. And I mean, just judging on and seeing all the lyrics that we have for the other songs, I mean, they're really like sort of real life lyrics, if that makes any sense. Spiritual, uh, what going through something, death, life. I mean, we touch on all of those things. So, to me, it's kind of a break also from just all the shit that is just, we've been going through for the past 2 years, and the news and blah 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 and this and that. It's just kind of like a form of escapism as well.
Yeah, how did you well you mentioned that a little bit earlier. How did you get through the pandemic? Just I mean, as somebody who's toured like practically nonstop for years.
Well, luckily, I mean, during the shutdown, my shop, which obviously, I own a car audio store, and I have for 31 years. The place got shut down for about 2 months,
Oh
when
yeah.
everything was shut down. But after that, we were just like extremely busy. So I
Yep.
was, thank God, extremely busy, with my business. And like I said earlier, I just went into like hyper writing mode.
Right.
I mean, I've always written for all the projects I've been in. I've always contributed. I've always been a main writer. But now, just kind of being stuck at home, I just kind of like, doubled up on it. So, I mean, it was cool in that sense. It was nice to sort of refocus, and kind of center myself again, and not being on the road, and then leaving, ministry last year, kind of like, I don't know, it made me appreciate the other things in my life, and things that you kind of like, move to the side or forget about when you're in that cycle of album tour, album tour, album tour. Like, you just, certain things just kind of get left behind, and it was nice to kind of refocus.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of had that, right? Because like with the whole shift in the job market, and
Yeah,
I just have been recently doing a bunch of interviews all of a sudden because everyone's touring again, and a
yeah,
few, yeah, like Peter Togren and people have all said that, yeah, it just sort of forced them to take a break and like kind of
yeah.
rearrange their priorities.
Absolutely. I mean, very much so for me. I had some sort of scary health issues,
Yeah.
like was it 2 years ago?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I had, or last year, I think it was last year. I long story short, I ended up in the hospital, and I ended up needing 3 blood transfusions.
I remember that.
And
Did they figure out what the heck
yeah, it
that
was
was?
fucking crazy. Well, it turns out that I had been anemic for many years
Oh,
and didn't know it. And it finally sort of caught up to me, and
wow.
my red blood cell count was dangerously low, like to the point where, if I would have waited any longer, like that kind of stuff, when it gets that low, can start to cause brain damage and
Oh,
and
shit.
major organ failure and shit like that. So luckily, I was rushed to the hospital in time, and yeah, so that was like another huge thing for me to kind of deal with. And when things like that happen in your life, they kind of just evaluate everything, and things that you take for granted, and all that stuff. And so yeah, it was just like a combination of all those things that sort of happened during the shutdown, and helped me reevaluate my priorities, really.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, not nice that you had the issue, but I know how that is. Yeah,
Yeah,
something
crazy.
kind of rearranges your whole life. Yeah, I had some similar
Yeah,
stuff happen.
very, very crazy and scary, but thank God, still here.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, thankfully you are still here and still with us. I remember
Yeah,
I was kind of reading the updates and the play-by-play on that, and like, oh shit,
yeah, it's
yeah.
crazy shit.
But so I was gonna say, is there a record company attached to this project? You guys independently releasing it, or how
No.
is that going?
Yeah, not yet. I mean, right now the single, I just released it. We just released it on our own. It's up on on our Bandcamp page, and the video's up on YouTube. There's a couple of labels that have been in touch, but we haven't even gone there yet. We need to get them a little bit more. We need to get them more material. And to be honest with you, it's not a huge priority for me right now. I really just want to get more songs out there. I really want to make everyone aware of the project, what we're doing. I know that some people are like, some people are listening to this and they're like, oh shit, like it's a little, like you said earlier, it's a little darker and heavier than what we know you for. I
Right.
get it. I totally understand. I mean, even coming from a band like Ministry, this is still darker and
Right.
heavier than that. And it's intentional. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I have other stuff. I have other songs that I might be releasing with other vocalists that are a little bit more on the stuff that people might know me for. But this project is definitely going to be heavy and dark, and I don't know, just very, very cool sounding, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's good to challenge yourself, right? Like you can't just do the
Yeah,
same industrial thing, kind of over and over, right?
it starts, like I said, you start to just repeat yourself, and it just starts to, like, the luster just starts to kind of wear out, and wear off, and you have to challenge yourself, and you have to push yourself and step out of that comfort zone,
Right.
because I think, in my opinion, that's when you do your best work, is when you really push yourself, rather than just follow the same formula you've been doing for years.
Yeah, yeah, and nowadays it's like you can kind of independently release. I mean, you don't have to have a record company telling you what to do.
Yeah,
I know a lot of artists who
exactly,
prefer to record and then shop it because, like, hey, do you want this album or not? The way it is,
exactly.
you
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
because I mean, you got to figure, it's not, it's definitely not like the old days. No one's getting a million, no one's doing any of that shit. And I don't want to be in debt to anyone, because all that is when you're getting money up front, you're basically getting a loan, and
Uh-huh.
you're responsible for that. And I don't want to start this thing out being in the hole. Like, I'd rather have full control over the material. I'd rather do it, piece by piece, slowly, but surely getting there. And I mean, it's really funny, just with the Bandcamp thing that we've been doing. I think we've money through Bandcamp independently on our own than what we have with some, deals with some other projects and shit like that. It's fucking ridiculous. So, if you're able to hang on to your material, do it, as long as you possibly can. If someone comes along with an actual decent, honest deal, then go for it, but until then, I mean, shit, do it on your own.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, God, Spotify now pays what, like point 0.1 cent of a cent or something. I
Yeah.
know the
Yeah.
music industry's changed so much from when I first kind of got into it in the late 90s.
Yeah. Oh, it's way different. Yeah, way different.
So yeah, it's like it's almost like, ars gratia artis, right? Like
Yeah,
what the artist wants is sort of more important since you're not going to
exactly.
make $1 million, right?
Exactly. And eh, where I'm at in my life right now, need to, I'm not like, oh my God, I need to get a fucking record deal or I need to do, no, it's like I'm very comfortable doing what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. And it takes a while to get to that point. Years ago, I was still in, need to do that. And I still have the work ethic and the drive is still there, but priorities are different. And that's a very cool place to be for me, because I feel a lot more relaxed and at myself. And that to me, that's a very, very cool place to be at.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes. I was gonna say, yeah, I remember the work where you were in like 3 bands at once or so, or four at one point.
Yeah, and I still do. I mean, I still push myself and things like that. It's that I don't know. I think it's just in my part of my upbringing. Always doing something and always hustling. But it's different when you're in. When you're like in a big band, like the band, like when I was in ministry and stuff like that, it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different mindset. You're in a whole different like schedule and all that stuff. And there's a lot, the pressures are different. When you're doing it on your own, you kind of like know when to start and stop. You know what I mean? No one's kind of telling you when you have to do that. It's just different. It just feels different right now, and it just feels good.
Nice. Well, cool. So is there anything else we should know or that you want to
Yeah.
add? I think. Um,
I mean, just that's it. Just the music is on our Bandcamp page, which is I think just Bandcamp or SIGLOS.bandcamp or whatever that is. You can find the video on YouTube. We have more music coming out here in the next, I want to say in the next month or so. The second video will be out, which will be different than the first one. The first one, Por los Siglos, is a very slow, dark, churning track. This next one is going to be more of a if you're in the pit, like you might get decapitated or lose an arm or leg or something. It's that kind of heavy. So
nice.
we're very thankful. Pedro and I are very thankful for all the positivity and all the love we've been getting. It's been great. I can't thank everyone enough for your support. Colette, you and I go way back. I appreciate you doing this for me and still being around. We've done a few interviews before. I'm very happy and glad to see you here, and many thanks to you for having me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Always. I'm always interested. And yeah, I really, really like the new project. I kind of started in industrial, as a teenager and kind of progressed more into heavier stuff, as far as what I listen to. So
Sure.
it's kind of, I guess it's a natural progression
Me too.
to go more evil.
That's what's
Yeah.
happening to me too. Yeah. I don't know. I thought I would be, as I got older, I thought maybe I would be like, listening more to Lawrence Welk or Perry Como or something, but
Apparently not.
I seem to be going the opposite direction.
I know. Yeah, that first song, I was going to tell you, I could totally hear it like in a movie, like in a,
Yeah.
some kind of dark
What's funny
horror or something.
Yeah, we've been getting that quite a bit, which is awesome to me, because to me, what that says is that it's creating a mood.
Right.
And there's a definite, like, to me, that's a big thing. It's a, I don't know, if I can touch people that way with the music, to me, that's a huge compliment. So, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, any project, anything you're working on, hit me up. I'm always down to hear it. Yeah, very talented. That's you actually write, so many things that I'm always interested in, whatever you got going on.
Thank you.